good food shouldn't always come at high prices. Eating quality food without breaking the bank is key. Today, I'll be talking with chef, owner, and founder of Fword Kitchen, Chef Julian, who provides elevated meal prep services for professional athletes, private catering events, as well as a personal chef. We'll dive into what inspired him to get into this business, what motivates him to continue being successful, and how he's leveraged some of those deals within his time here at Fword Kitchen to give back to his community. What's going on, Julian? How you doing?
How's it going, Jay? Nice to talk to you.
Absolutely. I appreciate you taking the time to sit down and let us know a little bit more about Fword Kitchen.
Yeah, no problem. Let's talk.
Well, first, let's get your official title and then what the inspiration was behind Fword Kitchen.
All right. I'm Chef Julian from Fword Kitchen, as mentioned. The inspiration behind Fword Kitchen was to basically bring food to everybody. So it's about everyone has a place at the table. The ethos of Fword Kitchen was about like family, friends, and good times. So that's the foundation of Fword Kitchen.
Are there any particular dishes or cuisines that you prepare?
Well, personally, I do everything. So I go into more of the Asian cuisine. That's more my strength, just because of the fact that that's what I kind of love the most, other than Creole food. I do a lot of Korean cuisine or inspired dishes, but touching with every country cuisine in Asia. So Vietnamese, Chinese, Japanese, Filipino. It's all what I love to do.
Oh, dope. Because I know one of the things was like, if you can think it, he can make it. Like, you're very creative with what you do as far as coming up with new innovative ways to remix certain dishes to make them more fun and exciting. So I know that you've done this for some time now, but you have background in hospitality, serving, restaurant management. At what point did this become a vision for you to jump into the chef owner sector?
Well, it started off with my wife. I would cook for her all the time. And every time she would just be like, this is great. Like, oh my God, this is like restaurant quality food. And I'm like, what? What are you talking about? I'm not a classically trained chef. I'm not, I just cook what I like. I cook at home. I cook for like people I care for. So it's just going in with the thought of, this is the best meal I can make for someone that I care about. And what I want to eat this. So that's basically how it started, is cooking for her. And then some of her friends trying my food too and being like, man, I would pay money for this. And then going like, maybe there is something there. And most of the time it was just trying to get over the fact that, you don't have to be, going to culinary school for years. You don't have to, have all this experience in class cuisine. You can just make good food for people that you care for. And then when people are responding to it, simple as that, now you have something that maybe you can market, maybe you can try to monetize. So that's how it started off for me.
So is it safe to say that it wasn't necessarily an initial vision of yours, but you got inspired by the feedback from your loved ones in terms of motivating you to want to do this professionally?
Yes, I would say that. I had no idea. When you're someone who cooks, everyone, especially in this social media age, they love to cook. Everyone thinks that they're, the next Gordon Ramsay in their kitchen. But for me, it was just like, I get stuck in the thought that I can't cook for people I love for, because I didn't do this, I didn't do that.
If I understand you correctly, it wasn't necessarily an initial vision of yours, but because of the motivation you got from cooking for your loved ones, that inspired you to take it to the next level in becoming a chef and owner of your own business. Is that accurate?
That's definitely accurate. Cooking for one of like a masses say, you're a chef. I didn't think I could do that because of my background. I wasn't a classically trained chef. I didn't go to culinary school. I wasn't a line cook. I just was a home cook and just doing it just for friends, family. And then after a while of hearing people telling me like, this is really good. This is really good. You have something here. I finally kind of started to believe what people were saying, and they're going, you know what? Let me try it. And then I was like, okay, let me take on a birthday party because a friend of my wife's, she was like, hey, I love your food. Can you cater for my birthday party? And I was like, are you sure? Are you sure you want me to do that? She was like, yeah, your food's great. Like, why wouldn't I want you? So I was like, okay. And I did a little pool party for her. And then it was just like, okay, you know what? Watching how they was receiving my food and everyone enjoyed it, like literally cleared out everything. Like, I was like, wow, I didn't realize like they would love my food like this. A lot of it comes from, your self-doubt and just thinking like, I'm not a chef. But that was just because I was just comparing myself to other people who were classically trained. And in this day and age, you don't have to be a classically trained chef. As long as you make good food, people love it, there you go.
Amen. I agree, right? The taste buds never lie. Like in terms of, I would say, a profession where the work speaks for itself, food definitely has to be at the top of that list.
True that.
Right? Like you've also had quite a few experiences working in the restaurant and hospitality business. How have you leveraged those skill sets and experience into running your own catering business?
Well, having worked with some, small restaurants and into big brands, major brands, like it's taught me a lot about how to run the business side of it, and then also how to do the hospitality, the guest services side. Because at the end of the day, what it comes down to is, are the people who are spending their hard-earned money with you, are they happy? That's what it comes down to. Like, forget everything else. Just go down to the basic principles. Are you making your guests happy? So your guest doesn't have to be someone that sits down in your restaurant. It could just be someone who's trying your food, that they enjoy it. And if they enjoyed it, you did your job. So knowing the background of the business, and then also how to run it from the ground up, that does give me a little bit of a head start as to someone who's just trying to cook. So knowing like how to manage a P&L, a profit and loss, how to, what sort of licenses you need, what sort of like learning about labor, learning about your costs, and just knowing all that aspect of it, and how to make a profit, and to how to cost out a menu. Those aspects of the food industry, of being a chef, definitely comes into handy. So I was very privileged to be able to get a crash course, a paid training in how to run a business.
Yeah, that's invaluable, right? To be able to have that real time experience, to leverage the ins and outs of the behind the scenes administrative work that needs to go into building a successful business. I think a lot of folks may potentially lose that component of it when they're just thinking in grandiose vision, but they don't understand the logistics that are needed to execute that vision effectively, right?
Exactly.
Let's say somebody's looking to get into a similar line of work that you do, catering, private chef, etc. What are some soft skills, interpersonal skills, and then some hard, more technical skills you think they would need to be successful?
Okay, so some like interpersonal skills is you need to learn how to take rejection. Let's start off there. Learning that it's not going to be as easy as you think. Yes, you can have a great product. Yes, you can have, the thousands of followers on Instagram or whatnot. Even if you don't have that, you can still be a great chef without all of the other the noise. Like you don't need the noise in order to be a great chef. But you also have to be able to handle when someone says, "I don't like this." Like, okay, all right, how do I take that and improve on that? And you have to be able to take criticism. You have to be able to take rejection. You have to be able to take, you know, just looking at your own self in the mirror and going, you know what, would I eat this? You know, like would I want to present this to grandma? You know, if you can't do that, you know, then that's something you need to, or you can't take that, then something you need to really evaluate with yourself, because it's not the easiest. And you know, because people have ego, pride, and everything like that. So when someone's like, "Hey, this ain't that good," you know, the first thing you want to do is go like, "What?" But you know, but what you have to do is internalize that and go, you know what? Okay, maybe that plate wasn't that great. So
Right.
how can I fix that? And then, you know, in the industry, you know, like cooks and stuff like that, chefs in restaurants and whatnot, they say you're only as good as your last plate. So if that one plate was great, you know, everyone was like giving you a standing ovation, but then the next one they're like, "Ooh, you fell off." You know, it's like, so you always got to be looking at how to innovate and how to, you know, think, how could I be better, and not just think I'm the best. You know, like having the confidence is great.
Mm-hmm.
That's a great skill to have. A great aspect of yourself to have is confidence, but also know how to take criticism too. So that's one of the biggest interpersonal skills I think one would need to progress and to keep moving forward and to not giving up. Another thing, like I just mentioned, not giving up. Having the strength within yourself to know that if you're feeling this and you're onto it, to follow your gut. Like there's gonna be a lot of people who tell you like, no, maybe you shouldn't, you know, but if you're like, you know what, this is what I'm passionate about, this is what I really want to do, this is what drives me, this is what literally wakes me up in the morning and makes me happy to do, then that's your God-given passion. That's what you were meant to do. Like mentioned, you know, being in the hospitality industry as management, I was a surfer before. I've ran everything from bar management to operations to, you know, just, yeah, hey, can I take your order? I've done all of that. But what I can say is that being able to create a meal and watching someone eat it and then them have that sense memory of what they're eating, especially if it's like a classic comfort food, and watching their face, that's one of the greatest things that you can get. But now on to the harder aspects of it, is that, yes, like I mentioned, knowing how to read a P&L, learning how to take rejection, learning how to take people saying that this isn't what you should do, but just keep pushing forward, keep trying, keep innovating. You know, stay online. Look at what other people are doing sometimes too. Get inspiration. Doesn't mean you're taking their ideas, is that you're just getting inspiration. I get inspired by places, people, all the time. And I love the fact that when you eat something, it's just like, wow, this is great. I love to try food and try people's food and just be like, wow, this is amazing. You know, like that's one of the best things. And I know as someone who is a chef, that if I say to somebody, this is really good, like I know how that feels. When someone tells me, wow, this is really good, I know the joy that it brings inside of me. So to be able to pass that along to somebody else and be like, you know, this is amazing. You know, this is, you know, I love to compliment restaurants, chefs. I love to tell them that their food was amazing. I love to be like, you inspire me, because that just keeps their drive going. And because knowing like what I know of that, how hard it can be, and just like every day you're just trying to make someone's day a little bit better with a bite of food, I know that goes a long way with them. So that's literally what I try to do, is inspire myself, inspire others, and then just try to bring a sense memory with every bite. That's what it comes down to.
All right. Well, I can't argue with that. I mean, that makes sense. It's like, hell, there's even endorphins tied to good food, right? There's that taste buds that can trigger those endorphins and that sense of good feeling. And to be able to bring that each and every day to different folks and inspire folks to kind of take on similar work that you do, of course, has to be part of your bigger goal and vision. And you mentioned at some point wanting to provide classes of some sort or instructional trainings for folks who wanting to get into this path of work. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's something that would be, one of the things down the road I would love to be able to do, is being able to like just basic teaching people how to do basic things with food, because I think one of the biggest things is daunting about people about food in general is that they think it's really hard, and I'm gonna say something that's like some people are like, oh, well, what are you doing? Like that's a little, you shouldn't be saying that, but cooking is easy. Like it really is. It's not hard. It's really not hard at all. If you just know basic things, you know your taste, you know what you like. Some people just don't like to do it, and all power to them. They keep everybody in business. People don't like to cook, but if you really wanted to, you could do it. It's not that hard. What's hard about it is presentation. What's hard about it is being able to combine flavors and being able to just know technique. Like certain techniques are harder than the others. I mean, for me, some techniques are really hard. And I'm like, wow, I don't even know how they did that, but I know it's possible. You just have to know the technique. So being able to show someone the basics on how to cook for themselves is one thing I would love to do. How to scramble an egg. Scrambling egg sounds so simple, but it can be, can get a little messed up. And when you know how to do it, it's super easy. It's like, oh, that was easy. Like, yeah. Just you need a fat, oil or butter, your egg, whip it, throw it in the pan, in a hot pan, and then just let it cook. Let it do what it does, move it around a little bit, throw some salt, pepper on at the end, and you're good to go. So that's one of the things I would love to be able to do, is like just show people that it's not as hard as you think it is, and how to cook at home. Because some people don't have the money to go out and spend $300 on a meal. They don't have that luxury. So if you know how to do the basic things at home, Monday through Sunday, and maybe you take yourself and your family on a treat one of those days, and you take them out. But regular day, like, you can cook for yourself, and you can cook for a family for like $20, start to finish. So I would love to show people how to do that.
I like that idea, as far as like you can bring essentially what some folks may deem as fancy, upscale type dishes. You can bring that to the home for as little as $20 or less, and teaching them the basics on how to mix and match, put things together to build these, elegant dishes for very minimal pricing. And I think that's kind of where that marketing pitch point would go really well, is to that folks want to know how to do that. It can be, to your point, very daunting to undertake something as challenging as becoming a chef or a personal cook or what have you, because they may have unawareness of the basics that would help drive their success long term. Scrambling an egg, just simple processes that you can break down. And it seems like you do a great job at articulating or lowering the barrier of entry for folks who may want to get into that type of work, to hear that, hey, there's somebody who's here actively doing this day in and day out, and they're telling you it's possible. So that can give them that confidence. You mentioned they would have to have some thick skin as far as critical feedback, have some introspection to be aware of where they can improve on or just keep themselves innovating, and then perseverance, ultimately being able to pursue that goal through thick and thin when things may not seem, because we understand that the restaurant business is hot and cold. A lot of times there's seasonal rushes, there's day-to-day times where they peak. There can be different parts of the year where your client base may increase rapidly. Other times it may be a lot slower. So you've got to have a level, an even keel approach to ensure that you don't get too high or too low throughout these lulls potentially. Is that fair to say?
Yes, that's definitely fair to say, because there's sometimes it's like, you would love, everyone would love to have the door being knocked down for people to throw money at you, but there's sometimes where it just doesn't happen, where you're like, I've been privileged enough as someone who ventured on as a lone wolf to start this off, especially with not having the classically trained background as some people do. But at the end of the day, can you learn it? You can learn it. and you just have to be resilient, and knowing that if you keep striving, you keep pushing, you keep innovating, you keep thinking outside the box, that yeah, one day your door will keep getting knocked down. I'm working with brands like Trader Joe's. That was something that I didn't expect coming. It was literally just someone emailed me, and then I called them, and then boom. It's like, so it's just keep pushing, keep trying, and then someone's gonna notice, and then just keep trying, keep pushing. Another person's gonna notice, and then after a while, you start seeing that people were like, "Hey, man, like I want to. Can you come do this for me? Can you come cater my wedding? Can you come cater my kid's birthday party? Can you come do a private brunch for me and my friends?" Like those things will start to happen. But if you don't stay humble and go, you know what? Hey, I gotta keep pushing. I gotta get better. I gotta keep thinking that the next plate can be better than the previous plate. Just keep pushing, because there's much opportunity out there, but you just gotta believe in yourself, and also believe that there's if you have a passion for it, that there's a process to it, and there's a journey. So just keep pushing.
You've been able to parlay that skills into several different ventures of private chef, private catering. I know you mentioned you've catered for professional athletes, bodybuilders, and the like. Do you have a particular demographic and or events that you prefer to cater, whether it's a private wedding event or athlete meal prep? Like, what do you prefer if you have one?
If I had to pick one, now each thing has its own ups and downs. There's something that you can say. They're all, honestly, they all kind of have their gives and takes. So you just have to take it as each opportunity that comes up, you just take it as it is. Now, with my personal preference, I would prefer to do catering, just because the larger catering, you can feed more folks, and also too, it's just fun. Like no one's mad at a caterer. Like if the food's good, like no one's like you're the star of the show. Like you're the one who brought the party. Everyone wants to eat, and everyone wants to eat good food. So other than like a bartender or a DJ, like you're up, because everyone's going to be holding the food to a higher standard. Because they're like, hey, they don't want to waste their time eating bad food. Who wants to eat bad food? So if you make something great and everyone's enjoying it, like you're the king of the day. So that's one of the joys about it. So catering brings a different joy than the other ones do. But nothing's. I wouldn't say that one opportunity is better than the other, because it's still an opportunity. You know what I mean? So it's like someone still wanted to spend their money with you. So whether that be small or big, I mean, I do meal prep for people, as mentioned, from people who are they're too busy to cook, or they're professional athletes and they're trying to they have a goal, they're trying to bulk, they're trying to lean, they're trying to maintain a certain look. So, but food is fuel at the end of the day too. So like knowing what they're looking for, what their goals are, and what they love to eat. That just comes down to simple as that. What do you want to eat, and what's your goal? Like you tell me. so we'll partner together to make sure you can achieve at least your dietary goal.
You mentioned like Fword Kitchen, right? The inspiration behind the F, and it kind of touched on a little bit of that in this conversation. But explain that a little bit more for folks who may not understand what that is.
Okay, so I thought it was a funny name, Fword, because it came down to flexitarian. So the F in Fword is flexitarian. Flexitarian diet is someone who mostly eats plant-based, but will eat meat as well too. So, but in smaller portions, not every day. And that's basically what I was doing. I was eating a flexitarian diet, and I had no idea that flexitarian was even a thing. So I was like, you know what? Let me go ahead and look this up. Let me look up what this is, because someone told me about this. They're like, oh, you're a flexitarian. And I was like, flexitarian? Like, I don't even know what that is. So I looked it up, and I was like, that's exactly what I am. I eat a lot of plant-based diet, but I also eat meat. I'm not against eating meat every now and then. So I'll eat chicken, fish, steak. I'll eat it, but I'll also eat vegan, and I also cook vegan food. I'll make vegan tacos, vegan vegetarian this, vegetarian that. But so I was like, you know what? Let me name this, if I do it, Fword, because no one knows what flexitarian really is. So what's that Fword thing? Hey, what's that Fword? What's that Fword you do? So I was like, all right, Fword Kitchen. So that's how it all started about.
It's a catchy word. I mean, I've never heard that term, right? Like, there's a lot of companies and industries where some of the naming conventions are similar across several industries, but I've never heard any Fword Kitchen. So it definitely stands out. It's a catchy phrase there. And like you said, if you guys can envision it, he can create it for you. He can cater to whatever your particular dietary needs are. And he's flexible that way. It's only fitting. I would say, I appreciate that tidbit. You explain some of the joys of what you get behind what you do, and your ultimate goal and vision of giving back to folks who want to get into similar line of work, helping open up that gap of knowledge maybe that folks may not have, or maybe a little overwhelmed to think to even undertake this path. Your idea is to potentially give them classes and courses on how to slowly acclimate them to becoming a chef like yourself. That's great. That's great. Any other final thoughts you have before we let you go?
Well, just basically just like not looking at food as that, or cooking is that it's a task, like it can be a task if you don't like what you're doing. But I always say, would you love to eat, and start there. Like, if you, like me personally, one of my favorite things to eat is orange chicken. I love it. Like, it's I will never turn down orange chicken. Like, someone's like, hey, you want to go eat some orange chicken? Bring me. You know what I mean? Like, right. I'm there. So what initially kind of got me started was going, you know what? I love orange chicken. I love guacamole. I love risotto. Like, I want to know how to make these things that I love. So I say, if you have a passion for cooking, and you're just like, or you want to know how to cook, I'd say start with knowing what you like to eat. And then going, if you like to eat it, learn how to make it. And if you know how to make it, then try something else. What else do you love to eat? Like, if you love to eat, soup. Soups are your favorite. What kind of soup? Chicken soup. All right, learn how to make a great chicken soup. Like, learn the basics. One of the things I say, even there's sometimes when I don't know something, I'm like, what is this? How do I make that? Google is your friend. You know what I mean? Like, I Google things all the time. If I'm like, I want to make this, but has anyone ever done it? And then, this sometimes I've come up with dishes that no one's ever made before, because it's not, I Googled it and no one has it. So I was like, oh, okay, well, I have my own thing. And, those are the type of things I keep in my back pocket to impress folks, or impress myself, or eat something that, you won't see on a menu anywhere, because I haven't seen it. So, and it's not even online anywhere. So I would say to people, like, start with what you love. And then if you want to learn how to be a cook at your own home, start with what you love. So what do you love to eat? If it's something crazy like, oh man, I want to eat like, foie gras with, that might be a little bit more difficult. But right. If it's like something basic, like, okay, well, I want to make a good pasta, a good pasta. You know what? You don't have to just go out to buy a jar of ragu or Prego. Like, you can actually make a red sauce, a sauce at home, and it's quite easy. Once you know how to make it, it's easy. It's like, it's very simple ingredients, and you're like, oh, hey, I can do that. So those type of things is what I feel a lot of people would need to know, and could value from, especially when economy goes the way it goes sometimes. Like, sometimes you can't always go spend the extra money out at a restaurant. You can just do it at home. So, start there. Start with what you love.
Wise words. So it's breaking down that barrier, whether you want to do it professional, amateur, or just personally. Anybody can get started in this field. Everybody has to eat food. Yeah. Food has to be prepared at all times. So why not get started today? I appreciate you taking the time, sit down with us, explain Fword Kitchen. Are there any socials, anywhere where folks can connect to you, maybe potentially order some of your services? Where can they reach you?
Well, okay. They can reach me. You can check out my website, www.fwordkitchen.com. I do rotating menus on there. About every 2 weeks or so, I rotate the menus out. Just trying new things, give people something different to try. I'm also on my social media on Instagram. It's at Fword Kitchen. That's FWORDKITCHEN. And I'm also on TikTok under Fword Kitchen as well. But more so on Instagram. So you'll kind of catch me more there. But yeah, I'm accessible. You can email me, DM me. I love to talk about food. I love to try to figure out new ways of bringing something to your plate that you would love to eat.
I love it. Folks interested in ordering some of your services, the best way to reach you is through fwordkitchen.com.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for taking the time, Julian. I appreciate you, and much success to you in the future.
Thank you, Jay. I appreciate your time as well.
Awesome. My pleasure.